Wealth is not a prize you must wrestle from the hands of life. It is not something that demands endless toil, strain, or sacrifice. Wealth, my friends, is a river already flowing, already abundant, already prepared for you. The only question is, are you aligned with it, or are you standing against the current? Manifesting wealth effortlessly begins not with your hands, but with your mind. Every thought you allow to settle in your heart becomes a seed, and every seed must bear fruit. If you think of lack, lack comes. If you dwell on abundance, abundance appears. Life cannot do otherwise, for it is law, and words. Oh, do not underestimate the power of your words. Each word is a command, a decree, a summons to the unseen forces of supply. Speak lack and lack obeys. Speak wealth and wealth rushes to meet you. Say it with me, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I live in overflow. These are not wishes. They are truths you are declaring into form. But here is the key that unlocks the treasure chest. Faith. Faith is the invisible bridge that carries you from what you see now to what you desire. Faith removes the resistance of doubt. Faith says, even if I do not see it yet, it is mine. And in that unwavering certainty, the channels of supply are thrown wide open. Imagination, too, is your greatest ally. Do not wait for wealth to appear before you dare to see yourself abundant. Picture it now. Feel the joy of walking into the life you desire. Live in it in your mind so fully that the universe must make it so in your experience. Imagination is the workshop of creation, and your wealth is being built there first. And let us not forget the secret multiplier, gratitude. When you give thanks for what you have now, no matter how small, you declare to the universe, I live in abundance. And the universe, never outdone, answers back with more. Gratitude is the magnet that draws blessings in greater measure. When your intuition whispers, obey, that still small voice will lead you to opportunities you could never force open by struggle. Divine guidance is the map that shows you the path of least resistance, the effortless way. Release the lie that struggle is noble, scarcity is not holy, and effort alone does not guarantee wealth. Wealth responds not to your sweat, but to your certainty, not to your fear, but to your joy. Expect abundance, and it must come. And yes, give, for the law of circulation cannot be broken. When you give freely, you declare that supply is infinite, and in declaring it, you prove yourself ready to receive in return. What you send out always comes back multiplied. When your thoughts, your words, and your actions are in harmony with divine law, wealth is not something you chase. It is something that chases you. You become a magnet. You become the embodiment of prosperity. And life, by its very law, cannot help but respond. So today, stop striving, stop worrying, stop clinging to scarcity, stand tall, speak with authority, and align yourself with truth. Wealth is already yours. Manifest it effortlessly, believe it, see it, speak it, and watch as the river of abundance, long waiting for you, carries you into the life of overflow that has always been your destiny. Wealth is not forced, it is attracted. This is one of the greatest truths that separates those who live in perpetual struggle from those who walk in ease and abundance. Too many people are living under the illusion that the harder they push, the harder they grind, the more hours they spend in struggle, the closer they will come to wealth. But wealth, true wealth, does not come as a result of strain. It does not come through desperation or endless striving. Wealth flows through alignment, not through force. It comes to those who understand the laws of the unseen, those who know that prosperity is first spiritual before it is material. Think of nature. The sun does not struggle to shine. The river does not fight to flow. The flowers do not strain to bloom. They operate by divine order, and so they unfold in beauty and abundance. Wealth operates in the same way. The moment you try to force it, you are working against the law. Forcing implies resistance. Forcing implies fear. Forcing says, I don't believe supply is mine, so I must wrestle it into existence. But attraction comes from certainty. Attraction comes from knowing, Attraction says, I am aligned with infinite supply, and what is mine will flow to me in perfect timing. The one who forces is like a fisherman thrashing about in the water, scaring the very fish he is trying to catch. The one who attracts is like the skilled angler who knows the fish will come, who casts his line with calm assurance and patiently draws in his catch. Wealth is not caught through frenzy. It is drawn in through faith and alignment. You attract what you are, not what you chase. If your mind is filled with worry about bills, fear about debt, or resentment toward those who have more than you, you are not attracting wealth. You are attracting more lack. But if your mind is filled with expectancy, gratitude, and faith, you become a magnet for prosperity. Life mirrors back to you what you truly believe. If you believe you must force, you will experience struggle. If you believe you attract, you will experience flow. Consider this: when you are desperate for money, do you notice how it seems to run from you? When you cling, when you worry, when you say, I must have it or else, it slips further from your grasp. Yet when you are calm, when you trust, when you know your needs are always met, opportunities arise effortlessly. The phone call comes, the idea drops into your mind, the door you never noticed swings open. This is the law at work. Wealth is not forced, it is attracted. Attraction is rooted in vibration. Everything in this universe vibrates, including your thoughts. Fear vibrates at one frequency, faith at another. Scarcity vibrates low, abundance vibrates high. When you dwell in thoughts of plenty, you raise your vibration to the frequency of wealth. And just like a radio tuned to the right station, you begin to pick up opportunities, people, and resources that match that vibration. You do not chase wealth, you prepare for it, you align with it, you live as though it is already here. Preparation is attraction in action. When you set your table, the feast arrives. When you walk as though the answer is on its way, it comes. You cannot attract from a place of waiting in doubt, but you can attract effortlessly when you prepare in faith. Imagine a farmer. He does not scream at the soil, produce my harvest now. He does not force the ground to yield its fruit. He plants in faith, waters in faith, tends in faith, and he knows that in due season the harvest must come. That is attraction. He does not force the sun to shine or the rain to fall. He aligns himself with natural law, and the law delivers. The same is true for wealth. You cannot scream at life to give you more. You must plant seeds of thought, water them with affirmations, and tend them with gratitude. Then, in due season, your harvest appears. People who force wealth often burn themselves out. They hustle endlessly, yet remain empty. They push, yet never feel satisfied. Why? Because force is born of fear. Fear that there isn't enough. Fear that they won't make it. Fear that someone else will take what is theirs. But wealth cannot grow in the soil of fear. Wealth grows in the soil of faith. And faith knows that supply is infinite, opportunities are endless, and nothing can block what is divinely yours. When you attract wealth, you are not passive. You are aligned. You listen to inner guidance and you act with certainty. The difference between force and attraction is the energy behind the action. Forced action is frantic, fear-driven, and exhausting. Attracted action is inspired, joyful, and effective. When you are aligned, you move when you feel the nudge, you speak when the words rise within you, you step through the doors that open. And because you are aligned, these actions lead you directly to wealth with far less struggle. Think of how many times wealth has come to you not because you forced it, but because you were in the right place at the right time, with the right mindset. You didn't make it happen, you allowed it to happen. You were tuned in, and so the opportunity found you. That is the effortless nature of attraction. To attract wealth, you must release the tight grip of control. You must trust that the universe has already prepared the way. Forcing says, it's all on me. Attraction says, it's already done. I am simply aligning with it. This shift in perspective changes everything. It brings peace, joy, and an inner knowing that allows you to walk in abundance long before it appears in the physical. Wealth does not respond to panic. Wealth does not respond to fear. Wealth does not respond to those who scramble. It responds to calm assurance, to gratitude, to expectation. The ones who walk with ease, who speak words of abundance, who give even when they have little, these are the ones who draw wealth like iron to a magnet, for they live as though supply is infinite, and because they believe it, they see it. So remember this truth: wealth is not forced, it is attracted. It does not bow to desperation, but it responds to faith. It does not come through pushing, but through aligning. It does not require you to exhaust yourself, but to believe, to prepare, to expect. You are not meant to chase wealth. You are meant to radiate it, to magnetize it, to live in such certainty that it cannot help but find you. For wealth is not something you must seize. It is something that, when you align with divine law, is already yours. Effortless manifestation begins in thought, for thought is the seed of all creation. Every structure, every invention, every fortune that has ever been built began first as an idea in the mind of someone who dared to imagine it. Before the skyscraper rose, it existed as a picture in the architect's imagination. Before the book was written, it existed as inspiration in the writer's thoughts. Before wealth appeared in the hands of any individual, it was first held in the chambers of the mind. This is why your thoughts are your most valuable possession, for they are the blueprint of the life you are building. The mind is a garden, and it never ceases to produce. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and lack, your harvest will be filled with struggle and scarcity. If you plant seeds of faith, abundance, and prosperity, your harvest will overflow with opportunities and increase. There is no neutrality in thought. Every thought is a cause, and every cause produces an effect. What you consistently think upon must eventually appear in your experience. This is not wishful philosophy. It is law. The great mistake people make is believing manifestation is something that starts in the outer world. They say, "I will believe in wealth once I see it in my bank account." But this is backward living. The account is not the cause. It is the result. The world you see around you is only a mirror of the thoughts you have believed within. If you want a new reflection, you must first change the image in your mind. The invisible always precedes the visible. Consider how you feel when you dwell on lack, worry about bills, and your body tightens, your energy sinks, your decisions become fearful. That vibration attracts only more struggle. But when you deliberately hold a thought of abundance, when you imagine yourself provided for, when you declare with confidence that all your needs are met, you rise in energy. Your mind becomes alert to opportunities. You begin to see possibilities where before you saw obstacles. That single thought of abundance shifts your entire experience. Thoughts are not idle. They are magnetic forces, constantly drawing to you circumstances that match their frequency. A thought repeated often enough becomes a belief, and a belief is a command to the universe. When you say to yourself over and over, "I never have enough," you engrave lack into your reality. But when you affirm, "Wealth flows to me in perfect ways," and you repeat it until it feels natural, you engrave abundance into your reality. The outer world cannot help but obey the inner decree. Effortless manifestation does not mean you do nothing. It means you align your thoughts with what you desire until action flows naturally. Forced manifestation says, "I must make this happen," and it exhausts itself in strain. Effortless manifestation says, "I align with the vision in my mind," and life arranges the details. This does not absolve you from action. Rather, it ensures that your actions are guided, timely, and effective. Instead of forcing doors open, you find them unlocked before you arrive. The power of thought is not in its fleeting flashes, but in its consistency. A passing wish has little power. but a sustained thought becomes a current strong enough to reshape your entire life. If every day you return to the thought of abundance, if you persist in seeing yourself as prosperous even when appearances say otherwise, you are setting into motion forces that cannot fail. Thought sustained is thought magnetized, and magnetized thought is what pulls manifestation from the unseen to the seen. Visualization is the deliberate use of thought to create reality. When you close your eyes and see yourself already wealthy, already living in the home you desire, already enjoying the freedom you crave, you are impressing the subconscious mind. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. To it, both are real, and what the subconscious accepts as real, it sets out to materialize. This is why imagining your wealth with feeling, with detail, with gratitude, is one of the most powerful practices for manifestation. But it is not enough to simply think once and forget. Manifestation requires mental discipline. Just as you would not plant a seed one day and dig it up the next to see if it is growing, you cannot plant a thought of abundance today and uproot it tomorrow with worry. Consistency is key. Guard your mind. Refuse to allow fear-filled thoughts to dominate you. Replace them quickly with thoughts of faith and supply. Over time, your mental garden becomes so rich with prosperity that lack has no room to take root. Your thoughts are also instructions to your emotions. Think of failure, and you feel despair. Think of success, and you feel excitement. The emotions generated by thought give those thoughts even greater creative power, for they add energy and intensity. This is why it is important not only to think of abundance but to feel it. Feel the joy of receiving. Feel the peace of being provided for. Feel the thrill of opportunity flowing toward you. These feelings charge your thoughts with life, and life responds in kind. The effortless part of manifestation comes when your dominant thoughts are so aligned with what you desire that doubt loses its hold. When you reach the place where abundance feels more natural to you than scarcity, wealth flows easily. You are no longer battling your own mind. You are no longer undoing your progress with contradictory thoughts. Instead, your mind is single, your vision is clear, and your energy is focused. At that point, manifestation is not something you struggle to achieve. It is something you cannot help but experience. Thought is the origin. Everything else is the unfolding. If you want to change your life, you must first change your thoughts. If you want effortless wealth, you must first think effortlessly about it. Hold it lightly with faith, see it clearly with conviction, speak it boldly with authority, and above all, persist in it, no matter what appearances may say. For appearances are temporary, but the power of thought is eternal. And when your thoughts are aligned with truth, nothing can stop the manifestation that follows. Words are powerful tools of creation. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the soil of the universe, and that seed must grow and return to you in kind. Many people treat words carelessly, tossing them out in frustration, in fear, or in idle chatter, not realizing that each utterance carries within it the power to shape destiny. When you declare, you are creating. When you affirm, you are commanding. When you complain, you are sowing weeds into the garden of your life. Words are never empty. They are charged with creative force, and the law of life responds to them without fail. Think of how the world itself was formed. It was spoken into existence. Let there be, and there was. This is the pattern of creation, and you, too, carry that same divine power. Your words set invisible forces into motion. You may not see the effect immediately, but every word spoken is a decree, and it is recorded in the fabric of your experience. If you truly understood the power of your tongue, you would guard your words with the same vigilance you guard your most valuable treasures. When you say, "I am broke," you are writing a decree of lack into your reality. When you say, "I can't afford this," you are affirming scarcity. When you say, "Money never stays with me," you are instructing life to take it away. and it obeys. The law does not discern whether your words are careless or deliberate. It only knows to return them multiplied. But when you say, I am prosperous, you plant prosperity. When you say, wealth flows to me easily, you open a channel for abundance. When you say, I am guided and supplied in perfect ways, you invite provision into your path. Notice the words you speak when faced with challenges. Do you affirm the problem, or do you affirm the solution? The one who constantly repeats the difficulty enlarges it, while the one who declares the answer attracts the way through. Say, this is too hard, and it becomes harder. Say, all things are possible, and the impossible begins to unfold. The universe bends to the decree of your tongue. Words also shape your self-image. Every I am statement you utter is a brushstroke on the canvas of your identity. Say, I am unlucky, and you paint yourself as a victim of circumstance. Say, I am a magnet for wealth, and you paint yourself as one destined for prosperity. The subconscious mind accepts these words as commands and arranges your behavior, your opportunities, and your perceptions to match them. If you want to change your life, change the sentences you allow to follow I am. Speak only what you wish to become. Even the tone and feeling behind your words carry power. Words spoken with conviction are like arrows. They hit their mark swiftly. Words spoken with doubt are like feathers. They drift and dissipate. This is why affirmations must not only be repeated but believed. When you declare abundance with confidence, you set a vibration so strong that life must respond. The more you repeat, the deeper you engrave it into the subconscious until it becomes your automatic truth. Words also affect those around you. Speak discouragement to another, and you may weaken their faith. Speak life and encouragement, and you strengthen their vision. Your words have the power to build or destroy, to heal or to wound, to open doors or to slam them shut. Every conversation is an opportunity to speak abundance into your own life and into the lives of others. When you bless someone with your words, you bless yourself, for all words circle back to their source. It is not enough to avoid negative words. You must also fill your mouth with words of truth. Silence alone is not creation. Creation requires sound. Just as a musician does not create music by refraining from wrong notes, but by deliberately playing the right ones, you do not manifest wealth by merely avoiding complaint. You manifest by deliberately affirming prosperity. Fill your language with I am blessed, I am guided, I am prosperous, I am wealthy in every way. These words are keys that unlock invisible doors. The spoken word is also a tool for redirecting thought. When the mind wavers with worry, speak an affirmation aloud, and the vibration of your own voice will steady your spirit. Say, everything I need is already provided, and feel how your energy shifts. Say, I walk in divine supply, and watch how peace floods your mind. Words anchor thoughts, and spoken with repetition, they train the mind to stay aligned with truth. Do not underestimate the words you mutter in passing. Even jokes, if repeated, become decrees. How many people laugh and say, I'm always broke, believing it harmless humor, yet wondering why wealth eludes them. Life does not laugh, life obeys. Every word spoken plants a seed, whether in jest or in seriousness. Plant carefully, plant deliberately, plant only what you want to harvest. The power of words is also magnified when they are combined with gratitude. Say, thank you for the abundance flowing to me, and you call it forth with both decree and appreciation. Gratitude charges words with energy. It says, this is not only coming, it is already mine. The universe rushes to confirm it. Remember, too, that silence in the face of fear is better than careless speech. When tempted to complain, remain quiet until you can speak truth. It is better to say nothing than to give voice to lack. But when you are ready to declare, speak boldly, speak with faith, speak with authority. Your words are the brush, your life the canvas, and every phrase you utter is shaping the masterpiece of your destiny. So guard your mouth. Let your words be treasures, not trash. Let them be affirmations, not complaints. Let them be declarations of wealth, not descriptions of lack. For every word you speak is a creative force, and when you use them with wisdom, they will become the effortless tools by which you manifest abundance in every area of your life. Faith removes resistance. This truth stands as one of the greatest keys to effortless manifestation, for faith is the invisible force that clears the obstacles between you and the wealth you desire. Resistance is nothing more than doubt, fear, and unbelief clothed in thought. It is the inner voice that says, "What if it doesn't happen? What if I fail? What if I am not enough?" That resistance blocks the flow of abundance like a dam holding back a mighty river. The river exists, the supply is there, the wealth is ready, but resistance keeps it from reaching you. Faith is the hand that lifts the barrier. Faith says, "It is mine now." And in that declaration, the floodgates open. Faith is not blind hope, nor is it wishful thinking. Faith is certainty in the unseen. Faith is knowing that the invisible law is as real and dependable as gravity. You do not see gravity, yet you trust it completely. You never doubt whether it will hold you to the ground each morning. Faith in divine supply is the same. You may not yet see the manifestation with your physical eyes, but you know the law of abundance is unfailing. You know wealth is already provided. You know that what belongs to you cannot be withheld. This knowing dissolves resistance instantly. When you doubt, you are double-minded. One moment you affirm prosperity, the next you question it. One moment you say, "Wealth is mine," the next you wonder, "But how will it come?" This double-mindedness creates turbulence. It is like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it has sprouted. The soil cannot produce under such disturbance. Likewise, the law cannot produce under the constant interruption of doubt. Faith, on the other hand, plants the seed and leaves it undisturbed, knowing the harvest is guaranteed. Resistance shows up in many disguises. It appears as worry about money. It appears as envy of those who have more. It appears as fear of losing what little you have. But faith exposes all these illusions. Faith says, "There is no lack. There is only supply." Faith says, "What belongs to me comes without delay." Faith says, "I do not compete. I do not strive. I am aligned and life responds." In that certainty, resistance melts away like shadows fleeing from the light. Faith is not passive. It is active trust. It acts as though the manifestation is already complete. When you truly believe, your behavior changes. You prepare as if the wealth has already arrived. You make space for it. You move confidently, not anxiously. You speak abundance, not lack. This is why faith is so powerful. It does not wait to see, it knows, and in that knowing, it draws the unseen into the seen. Think of how a child trusts a parent. If a parent promises to provide food, the child does not fret all day about whether it will come. The child goes on playing, resting, and enjoying life, fully assured that provision will be placed before them at the right time. That is the essence of faith. It is resting in the certainty that your needs are already supplied. Resistance cannot exist in such trust. Worry has no place where confidence resides. Resistance is often born of timelines and conditions. You may say, "Yes, I believe wealth will come, but it must arrive this way by this date through this person." And when it does not unfold according to your demand, resistance rises. But faith releases control of the how and when. Faith knows that divine order is perfect and timing is precise. Faith trusts that what you need will appear in the best way, at the best moment, without your interference. To resist is to insist. To have faith is to release and allow. Faith is also strengthened by remembrance. Look back at your life and recall the times you thought you would not make it, yet provision appeared. Recall the moments when doors opened at the last moment, when help came unexpectedly, when needs were met in ways you could not have orchestrated. These memories are the proof that the law is faithful. The same force that supplied you before will supply you again. Let memory silence resistance and fuel your faith. When resistance whispers, "It's too hard," faith responds, "All things are possible." When resistance says, "There isn't enough," faith declares, "I live in infinite supply." When resistance argues, "You must struggle," faith answers, "My good flows to me easily and effortlessly." In every battle between doubt and belief, faith must have the final word. Speak it aloud, declare it with conviction. The sound of your own voice affirming truth weakens resistance and strengthens the certainty within you. Faith does not require you to see the entire path. It only asks that you trust the next step. Resistance demands guarantees, demanding proof before it will move. Faith says, "I do not need proof, I know the law works." And in walking that first step with assurance, the next appears. This is the rhythm of manifestation, certainty opening one door after another until the vision is fully realized. Resistance is heavy, faith is light. Resistance drains, faith energizes. Resistance looks at appearances, faith looks at truth. When you choose faith, your energy rises, your mind clears, your heart steadies. You become magnetic, drawing to yourself people, ideas, and resources that align with your vision. Without faith, opportunities slip by unnoticed because resistance blinds you. With faith, you see clearly, and what is yours cannot miss you. Faith is the atmosphere in which wealth breathes. Just as a fish cannot live without water, wealth cannot flow where resistance dominates. But in the atmosphere of faith, wealth multiplies. It circulates. It appears in ways beyond your imagination. Faith keeps the channel clear, so the river of abundance can rush unhindered into your life. So release the heavy burden of doubt. Lay down the chains of worry. Let go of the need to control, and step boldly into faith, the great remover of resistance. Stand on the truth that wealth is yours now. Declare it with confidence, act as if it is already complete, and watch as the obstacles fall away, the channels open, and the abundance that has always been waiting flows freely into your hands. Imagination is the workshop of wealth. Every fortune, every breakthrough, every invention, every empire that has ever been built was first constructed in the invisible realm of imagination before it appeared in the visible world. Imagination is not a child's game, nor is it a fleeting daydream to be dismissed. It is the sacred tool given to you to shape reality itself. It is the workshop where ideas are formed, where visions are born, where the blueprint of abundance is drawn long before the structure of wealth rises in the material world. Before a builder lays a single brick, he holds a plan. Before a painter touches canvas, she sees the picture in her mind. Before the musician plays a single note, the melody already exists within. So it is with wealth. If you desire prosperity, you must first build it within your imagination. You must see yourself already in possession of the life you long for. You must picture it so vividly that it feels more real than the appearances of lack that surround you. Imagination is the womb of creation, and what you conceive within must eventually be born without. Too often, people misuse their imagination by rehearsing fear and disaster. They picture themselves failing, losing, suffering, and struggling. They imagine unpaid bills, empty accounts, doors closing in their faces, and then they wonder why life seems to confirm those very pictures. They do not realize that their imagination is working perfectly, but it is working against them. For imagination does not discriminate. Whatever images you hold with emotion, whether good or bad, are impressed upon the subconscious, and the subconscious sets out to create them. If you want to attract wealth, you must discipline your imagination to create abundance, not lack. Picture yourself living in freedom. Picture yourself paying your bills with ease. Picture yourself walking confidently, clothed in peace, secure in provision. Imagine the home you desire, the opportunities flowing, the doors opening, the right people entering your path. Feel the emotions of gratitude as if it were already here. For when you imagine with feeling, you are not pretending, you are planting, You are laying bricks in the unseen workshop of your future. The power of imagination lies in its ability to bypass present conditions. You may look at your current life and see struggle, yet in your imagination you can dwell in abundance. You may have little in your hand, yet in your imagination you can hold more than enough. And what you hold consistently in imagination becomes so real to the subconscious that it begins to arrange circumstances, attract opportunities, and open channels that mirror that vision. Imagination is the rehearsal for manifestation. The greatest men and women of wealth were dreamers first. They dared to imagine possibilities others dismissed. They saw fortunes where others saw failure. They pictured success when others declared defeat. Their outer conditions were often poor, but their inner vision was rich. They held to that vision, and the law of life was bound to honor it. What they imagined, they eventually lived. The same power is available to you. You do not need permission, education, or resources to imagine. You only need to close your eyes, quiet your mind, and see yourself as you wish to be. Imagination is also the key to faith, for faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. How can you hold faith in what you cannot see unless you first imagine it? Imagination gives faith something to grasp. It provides the image upon which belief can anchor. Without imagination, faith is blind. With imagination, faith becomes sight. You can walk boldly toward a vision you have already seen within. Do not fear that imagination is fantasy. Imagination is not an escape. It is the very tool by which the unseen becomes seen. Everything you touch today existed first in someone's imagination. The chair you sit on, the device in your hand, the city around you, all were once only pictures in a mind. If imagination could create these things for others, why would it not create wealth for you? You are not excluded from this law. You are not too late, too old, or too far behind. The workshop of imagination is open to you right now, and its tools are waiting for your use. Train yourself to imagine daily. Set aside time to build your vision. Close your eyes and see yourself abundant. See yourself living the life of ease and overflow. Do not allow fleeting images of failure to dominate your workshop. Sweep them out and replace them with visions of prosperity. Over time, your imagination will become so clear, so consistent, that you will live more in the vision than in the present conditions. And when that happens, the present must rise to meet the vision. The outer world must bow to the inner picture. Imagination also sparks inspired action. When you dwell on abundance, ideas begin to flow. Creative solutions rise within you. You see paths you never noticed before. Your mind becomes fertile ground for innovation, opportunity, and divine guidance. Imagination not only creates the vision, it stirs the wisdom to walk it out. This is why those who imagine consistently find themselves led step by step into the manifestation of their dreams. Guard your imagination, for it is sacred. Do not feed it with endless images of scarcity from news, gossip, or fear-filled talk. Fill it with truth, with beauty, with possibility. Feed it with stories of those who rose from little to much. Feed it with affirmations of abundance. Feed it with pictures that inspire you. What you allow into your imagination is what you will eventually allow into your life. Remember, imagination is not a passive daydream. It is an active creation. It is the workshop where wealth is designed, detailed, and destined. You are the architect of your fortune, and imagination is the drafting table upon which your blueprints are drawn. The moment you hold a clear picture of abundance in your mind, you have already begun the process of manifestation. The outer world has no choice but to catch up to the inner design. So do not waste the gift of imagination on fear. Do not squander it on worry. Use it with intention. Use it with joy. Use it with faith. Build your wealth first in the unseen, and the seen will follow. Live in imagination until it becomes reality. For imagination is the workshop of wealth, and in that workshop, You hold the power to design the life of abundance that has always been yours. Gratitude is the magnet that multiplies what you have. It is the golden key that unlocks the vault of abundance and keeps the flow of prosperity alive in your life. Gratitude is not a polite thank you whispered when life gives you something nice. Gratitude is a spiritual force, a vibration, a magnetic current that draws to you more of whatever you bless. When you are grateful for what you already possess, you signal to life that you are prepared, receptive, and trustworthy enough to receive more. Many people shut the door to wealth because they fix their attention on what they lack. They complain, they compare, they criticize. They stare at the smallness of their circumstances and curse them, not realizing that they are cursing their own harvest. Whatever you resent will shrink, whatever you complain about will remain, but whatever you praise will multiply. Gratitude is praise, and praise is power. It lifts the smallest seed into a harvest beyond measure. Consider this when you hold a single coin in your hand and say, "This is nothing, it's not enough." You repel more from coming. But when you hold that same coin and bless it, giving thanks for the symbol of supply, you open the channel wider. You affirm that you live in a universe of endless provision, and even the smallest sign of wealth is worth celebrating. That celebration sets a law in motion. It is as if you are watering a seed. With every expression of gratitude, the seed expands, the roots deepen, the stem rises, and soon more wealth must appear. Gratitude multiplies because it shifts your consciousness from lack to abundance. When you dwell on lack, you close your eyes to opportunities. You cannot see open doors when your gaze is fixed on what is missing. But when you choose gratitude, even for small blessings, your eyes open to possibilities all around you. You notice the extra chance, the divine connection, the sudden idea. Gratitude tunes your frequency to the vibration of wealth, and wealth responds. Think of the farmer. If he despises the little green shoots rising from the ground and says, "This is not enough to feed my family," he will rip them out before they can mature. But if he praises those shoots, tends them, and blesses them, they grow into a field of harvest. Gratitude is tending your garden. It is saying, "Thank you for this little, for I know it is the sign of much." That attitude calls forth the harvest. Gratitude also multiplies because it is faith in action. When you give thanks for what you have, you declare that you trust the source of your supply. You affirm that provision is not scarce, that wealth is not random, that your needs are already met. Gratitude is the language of certainty, and certainty attracts. The moment you give thanks before the manifestation, you demonstrate belief that the manifestation is inevitable. Life rushes to prove you right. The power of gratitude is not reserved for the wealthy. In fact, it is gratitude that makes one wealthy. You may have little in your pocket, yet if you bless it, praise it, and treat it as evidence of abundance, it will expand. On the other hand, you may have much in your hand, yet if you grumble and say it is not enough, it will slip away. Gratitude is not about the size of what you hold, it is about the spirit with which you hold it. Begin each day in gratitude. Before you rise from bed, thank life for breath, for health, for another chance. Thank life for the roof above you, for the food you ate yesterday, for the opportunities yet unseen. Speak gratitude aloud, write it down, let it become a habit as natural as breathing. For every expression of gratitude strengthens your magnetic field for wealth. You will notice that the more you give thanks, the more you find to give thanks for. Gratitude multiplies itself. Gratitude is also a shield. When storms come, when appearances look bleak, gratitude holds you steady. It says, "Even here, I have something to bless. Even in this, I am provided for." That posture keeps you from sinking into despair. It keeps your vibration high, your faith alive, your heart open. And when your heart is open, blessings can flow in. Gratitude protects you from the poison of fear, and in doing so, it preserves your harvest. Do not wait for the big miracle to be grateful. The miracle begins with the small, the tiny check in the mail, the unexpected discount, the kind word, the door that opened when another closed. Bless them all. They are signs that the law is working. They are proof that the flow of wealth is active in your life. If you cannot be grateful for the little, you will not be trusted with the great. Gratitude in small things proves you are ready for abundance in all things. Gratitude also connects you to generosity. When you are truly grateful, you cannot help but want to give. You want to share, to bless others, to extend the same kindness life has shown you. And generosity, in turn, multiplies wealth. The more you give, the more room you make to receive. The cycle of gratitude and generosity creates an endless flow of supply, a circulation of abundance that never runs dry. So take inventory today. Instead of counting what you lack, count what you have. Instead of cursing your present, bless it. Instead of complaining about what is not here, celebrate what already is. Write down every reason you have to be grateful and watch how your energy shifts. That shift is not just emotional, it is magnetic. It calls wealth to you. Gratitude multiplies not because it changes life itself, but because it changes you. And when you change, life has no choice but to mirror it back in greater measure. The secret to effortless manifestation is not striving, not forcing, not complaining, but blessing. Gratitude is the law of increase in action. Whatever you bless, blesses you. Whatever you praise, raises you. Whatever you thank, expands in your life. Gratitude multiplies what you have until you are surrounded by abundance too great to measure. Faith turns the unseen into reality. It is the bridge between the invisible vision and the visible manifestation. Faith is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind hope. Faith is a deep knowing, a certainty that what you have imagined, what you have spoken, what you have believed, already exists in the unseen realm and must appear in the seen. Faith is the assurance that what you hold in consciousness cannot be denied in experience. Every great achievement, every fortune, every creation was once invisible. The wealth you desire does not begin in the bank. It begins in belief. Before the numbers, before the opportunities, before the doors swing wide, there must first be faith. Faith is the seed and reality is the harvest. If you plant doubt, you reap delay. If you plant fear, you reap limitation. But if you plant faith, you reap abundance. Life does not give you what you hope for casually. It gives you what you believe with certainty. Faith is not shaken by appearances. It does not bow to circumstances. It does not tremble when the account is empty, or when opportunities seem scarce, or when the world screams, "It cannot be done." Faith holds steady because it sees beyond the surface. It recognizes that appearances are temporary, but truth is eternal. Truth says that you are provided for, that you are guided, that you are supported by an infinite source. Faith clings to that truth even when every sense denies it. The power of faith lies in its ability to command the unseen into form. You cannot see the wind, yet you see the branches move. You cannot see the electricity, yet you see the light shine. So it is with faith. You may not yet see the manifestation, but you feel the evidence within. You sense the reality before it takes shape. That inner assurance is the creative force itself. The moment you believe without wavering, the law of life is obligated to fulfill your belief. Faith is not passive. It does not sit idly and wait. It moves, it acts, it prepares. When you believe wealth is already yours, you begin to behave differently. You make room for abundance. You speak with confidence. You prepare your life as if the blessing has already arrived. That preparation is a declaration of faith, and it accelerates manifestation. Just as a mother prepares the nursery before the child is born, so must you prepare for wealth before it appears. That preparation is proof of your certainty. Faith turns the unseen into reality by shifting your vibration. Fear and doubt keep you tethered to lack, but faith raises you into alignment with abundance. It changes the way you think, the way you speak, the way you act. It transforms your energy into a beacon that attracts opportunities, people, and resources. Faith does not wait for proof. It creates proof, it declares, it is done, and life echoes back, so be it. Think of the inventor who toils for years without evidence. He holds faith in an idea no one else can see. The world calls him foolish, yet he continues. Why? Because he sees the unseen so clearly that he cannot deny it. Eventually, what was only in his mind becomes reality for all. The same law applies to wealth. You may be the only one who believes in your vision of abundance, but that belief is enough. One seed of faith can move mountains of doubt. Faith also requires persistence. It is not shaken by delay. Delay is not denial. It is often the preparation of the path. Faith does not wither when results are slow. It grows stronger, knowing that unseen forces are aligning, that unseen doors are opening, that unseen opportunities are gathering. The harvest comes to those who refuse to uproot their seed of belief. Impatience digs up the seed. Faith waters it. Faith waits. Faith knows that in due season, the manifestation must appear. You cannot fake faith, but you can grow it. You grow faith by feeding it with truth, by rehearsing your vision, by speaking words of certainty instead of fear. Every time you affirm abundance, you strengthen faith. Every time you thank life for provision, you strengthen faith. Every time you act as if your dream is already here, you strengthen faith. Little by little, your doubt weakens and your belief becomes unshakable. And when faith becomes unshakable, reality bends to it. Understand this, the unseen is more real than the seen. What you hold in thought, what you believe in heart, is the blueprint of tomorrow. Faith knows this. Faith is the eyes of the spirit, the vision beyond the senses. When you walk by faith, you are not deceived by temporary conditions. You are guided by eternal truth, and eternal truth always prevails over temporary appearances. Faith also works with imagination. You imagine the vision, and faith believes it into being. Imagination creates the picture, and faith calls it real. Without faith, imagination remains a dream. With faith, imagination becomes destiny. The two work hand in hand, creating a force unstoppable by doubt, fear, or limitation. Even a little faith is powerful. It need not be grand or dramatic. A mustard seed of faith held steady can move mountains. One small act of believing can set a chain of events in motion that alters your entire life. Faith is not about size. It is about sincerity. A little unwavering faith is stronger than great wavering doubt. So train yourself to believe, refuse to rehearse failure, refuse to imagine defeat, refuse to speak words of lack. Instead, declare wealth as yours, picture it, affirm it, walk in it. Prepare as if it is already done. When fear whispers, silence it with faith. When doubt rises, drown it with truth. Stand on the unseen, and soon it will be seen. For faith always turns the unseen into reality, and the wealth you believe in today will be the wealth you live in tomorrow. Faith turns the unseen into reality. It is the bridge between the invisible vision and the visible manifestation. Faith is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind hope. Faith is a deep knowing, a certainty that what you have imagined, what you have spoken, what you have believed, already exists in the unseen realm and must appear in the seen. Faith is the assurance that what you hold in consciousness cannot be denied in experience. Every great achievement, every fortune, every creation was once invisible. The wealth you desire does not begin in the bank. It begins in belief. Before the numbers, before the opportunities, before the doors swing wide, there must first be faith. Faith is the seed and reality is the harvest. If you plant doubt, you reap delay. If you plant fear, you reap limitation. But if you plant faith, you reap abundance. Life does not give you what you hope for casually. It gives you what you believe with certainty. Faith is not shaken by appearances. It does not bow to circumstances. It does not tremble when the account is empty, or when opportunities seem scarce, or when the world screams, "It cannot be done." Faith holds steady because it sees beyond the surface. It recognizes that appearances are temporary, but truth is eternal. Truth says that you are provided for, that you are guided, that you are supported by an infinite source. Faith clings to that truth even when every sense denies it. The power of faith lies in its ability to command the unseen into form. You cannot see the wind, yet you see the branches move. You cannot see the electricity, yet you see the light shine. So it is with faith. You may not yet see the manifestation, but you feel the evidence within. You sense the reality before it takes shape. That inner assurance is the creative force itself. The moment you believe without wavering, the law of life is obligated to fulfill your belief. Faith is not passive. It does not sit idly and wait. It moves, it acts, it prepares. When you believe wealth is already yours, you begin to behave differently. You make room for abundance. You speak with confidence. You prepare your life as if the blessing has already arrived. That preparation is a declaration of faith, and it accelerates manifestation. Just as a mother prepares the nursery before the child is born, so must you prepare for wealth before it appears. That preparation is proof of your certainty. Faith turns the unseen into reality by shifting your vibration. Fear and doubt keep you tethered to lack, but faith raises you into alignment with abundance. It changes the way you think, the way you speak, the way you act. It transforms your energy into a beacon that attracts opportunities, people, and resources. Faith does not wait for proof. It creates proof. It declares, "It is done," and life echoes back, "So be it." Think of the inventor who toils for years without evidence. He holds faith in an idea no one else can see. The world calls him foolish, yet he continues. Why? Because he sees the unseen so clearly that he cannot deny it. Eventually, what was only in his mind becomes reality for all. The same law applies to wealth. You may be the only one who believes in your vision of abundance, but that belief is enough. One seed of faith can move mountains of doubt. Faith also requires persistence. It is not shaken by delay. Delay is not denial. It is often the preparation of the path. Faith does not wither when results are slow. It grows stronger, knowing that unseen forces are aligning, that unseen doors are opening, that unseen opportunities are gathering. The harvest comes to those who refuse to uproot their seed of belief. Impatience digs up the seed. Faith waters it. Faith waits. Faith knows that in due season, the manifestation must appear. You cannot fake faith, but you can grow it. You grow faith by feeding it with truth, by rehearsing your vision, by speaking words of certainty instead of fear. Every time you affirm abundance, you strengthen faith. Every time you thank life for provision, you strengthen faith. Every time you act as if your dream is already here, you strengthen faith. Little by little, your doubt weakens and your belief becomes unshakable. And when faith becomes unshakable, reality bends to it. Understand this: the unseen is more real than the seen. What you hold in thought, what you believe in heart, is the blueprint of tomorrow. Faith knows this. Faith is the eyes of the spirit, the vision beyond the senses. When you walk by faith, you are not deceived by temporary conditions. You are guided by eternal truth, and eternal truth always prevails over temporary appearances. Faith also works with imagination. You imagine the vision, and faith believes it into being. Imagination creates the picture, and faith calls it real. Without faith, imagination remains a dream. With faith, imagination becomes destiny. The two work hand in hand, creating a force unstoppable by doubt, fear, or limitation. Even a little faith is powerful. It need not be grand or dramatic. A mustard seed of faith, held steady, can move mountains. One small act of believing can set a chain of events in motion that alters your entire life. Faith is not about size. It is about sincerity. A little unwavering faith is stronger than great wavering doubt. So train yourself to believe. Refuse to rehearse failure. Refuse to imagine defeat. Refuse to speak words of lack. Instead, declare wealth as yours. Picture it, affirm it, walk in it. Prepare as if it is already done. When fear whispers, silence it with faith. When doubt rises, drown it with truth. Stand on the unseen, and soon it will be seen. For faith always turns the unseen into reality, and the wealth you believe in today will be the wealth you live in tomorrow. Abundance flows where resistance ends. The universe is not withholding wealth from you. Life is not cruelly dangling prosperity just out of reach. The flow of abundance is constant, steady, and endless. What blocks that flow is not life, it is resistance within you. Resistance shows up as fear, doubt, worry, control, and the endless struggle to force outcomes. The moment you release that resistance, the current of wealth rushes in like water, freed from a dam. Picture a river. The water is always moving, always seeking the lowest point, always flowing toward expansion. But if you throw boulders in its path, the water cannot pass freely. It pools, it swirls, it stagnates. Yet the moment you remove the obstruction, the river finds its natural course again. So it is with abundance. The supply is ever present, the current is ever flowing, but resistance is the boulder in your consciousness that keeps it from reaching you. Resistance often comes in the form of fear. Fear says, what if I fail? What if there isn't enough? What if I lose it all? Fear tightens your grip, makes you hoard, makes you chase, makes you struggle. But abundance cannot be chased, only welcomed. Fear sends out a signal of lack, and lack answers. To end resistance, you must replace fear with trust. Trust that you are supported. Trust that supply is endless. Trust that provision comes in perfect time. When trust replaces fear, the flow resumes. Another form of resistance is doubt. Doubt whispers, it works for others, but not for me. I'm not worthy. I'm too late. I've made too many mistakes. Doubt creates a wall between you and abundance, not because life agrees with your doubt, but because you agree with it. The moment you doubt, you close the door. To end resistance, you must dissolve doubt with truth. Truth says you are worthy because you exist. Truth says you are not separate from the source of wealth. Truth says it is never too late. Doubt cannot stand in the presence of truth. Control is another heavy resistance. When you demand that life unfold in your exact way, on your exact timeline, you resist the greater wisdom of the universe. You grip tightly, trying to push doors open, trying to manipulate outcomes. But abundance flows through surrender, not control. When you surrender, you release the how and when. You allow yourself to be guided. You trust that the right opportunities, the right people, the right timing are being orchestrated on your behalf. The moment you let go of control, the flow accelerates. Worry is resistance disguised as responsibility. You tell yourself, if I don't worry, I won't be prepared. If I don't stress, I won't succeed. But worry does not prepare you, it paralyzes you. Worry does not open doors, it slams them shut. Worry clogs the channel of abundance because it keeps your mind fixed on problems instead of solutions. Gratitude, on the other hand, is the antidote to worry. When you choose to bless what you have instead of stressing over what you don't, resistance dissolves and flow returns. Struggle is resistance pretending to be effort. You believe wealth only comes through pushing, grinding, exhausting yourself. You think, if I'm not suffering, I don't deserve it. But abundance is not a reward for struggle, it is a natural inheritance. Struggle comes from believing you must create everything by your own power. Flow comes from realizing you are in partnership with a greater source. When you align with that source, effort becomes inspired action, lighter, faster, and more fruitful than struggle could ever produce. Ending resistance does not mean doing nothing. It means doing from a place of trust instead of fear, from a place of flow instead of force. It means taking inspired action when nudged, not frantic action out of panic. It means opening your heart to receive instead of bracing yourself for disappointment. Abundance flows where resistance ends because the flow was never absent. You were simply standing in your own way. Think of breathing. Air surrounds you constantly. You do not need to beg for oxygen. You do not need to prove you deserve it. You only need to relax and breathe it in. If you hold your breath in fear, you resist the very thing that sustains you. The moment you exhale, the moment you release, air rushes back in. Abundance is the same. Wealth surrounds you constantly. The moment you exhale your resistance, fear, doubt, worry, control, prosperity rushes back in. Notice how you feel when you are in resistance. Your body is tense, your mind is restless, your heart is closed. Compare that to how you feel when you are in flow. Your shoulders relax, ideas come easily, opportunities appear effortlessly, people show up to help. This shift is not coincidence, it is law. Resistance blocks, flow attracts. So how do you end resistance? Begin by observing it. Catch yourself when fear arises, when worry consumes, when doubt whispers, when control tightens. Instead of fighting resistance, acknowledge it and release it. Breathe deeply and affirm, I release all resistance. I trust the flow of life. I am open to receive. Each time you do this, you weaken the boulders in your river. Eventually, the current of abundance breaks through. Another way to end resistance is through gratitude. Gratitude dissolves fear, silences doubt, softens control, and erases worry. Gratitude aligns you with trust, and trust invites flow. When you say thank you for the little, you end the resistance of it's not enough. When you bless the present, you end the resistance of I'm behind. When you praise what is, you end the resistance of something's missing. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the river. Let go of the belief that wealth must come hard. Let go of the thought that you are unworthy. Let go of the habit of worrying over outcomes. Let go of the grip of control. Release, surrender, trust. The moment you do, you will feel it, the current moving again, carrying you effortlessly toward abundance. Abundance flows where resistance ends because abundance is natural. It is not something you earn, it is something you allow. It is not something you chase, it is something you welcome. The flow is waiting for you to step aside, to stop damming it with fear and doubt. The river is ready. The supply is endless. The question is not whether abundance will flow. It is whether you will end your resistance and let it. Your words shape your wealth. Every sentence you speak is a seed, and those seeds take root in the soil of your subconscious mind, growing into the harvest you will one day live in. Words are not casual sounds drifting into the air. They are creative commands, spoken vibrations that set forces in motion. You cannot separate the wealth you experience from the words you continually use, because your speech carries the blueprint of your belief. If you want to transform your finances, your opportunities, your prosperity, you must first transform your words. Too often, people sabotage their wealth with careless language. They say, I'm always broke, money doesn't stick to me, I can't afford that, life is hard, nothing ever works out for me. These words may seem harmless, even humorous, but they are not. They are decrees, and life takes them as orders. Every time you affirm lack, you are writing a script for more lack to appear. Every time you confess struggle, you are programming your subconscious to create more struggle. Words reinforce the very reality you wish to escape. But the opposite is also true. When you speak words of abundance, when you affirm wealth, when you declare provision, your speech builds a new reality. Say, money flows to me easily. I live in an abundant universe. Every day I am guided to greater prosperity. Wealth is my natural state. These words are not empty. They are energetic codes that instruct your subconscious and align you with the vibration of prosperity. Life will bend to the script you write with your tongue. Your words reveal your faith or your fear. Fear speaks in complaints, doubt, and limitation. Faith speaks in confidence, gratitude, and expectation. The moment you open your mouth, you are telling the universe what you believe. If you constantly speak about lack, you prove to yourself and to life that you trust in lack. If you constantly speak of abundance, you prove your trust in provision. And because faith always creates, your words of abundance will manifest as reality. Guard your speech, for your tongue holds the power of increase or decrease. When you bless what you have, you multiply it. When you curse what you have, you shrink it. When you speak kindly about your money, your opportunities, your future, you open the way for more. When you grumble and criticize, you block the flow. Think of your words as rivers. Do they carry you toward wealth or away from it? The creative power of words is written into the laws of life. The world itself was spoken into being. The same creative force rests in your tongue. You may not be creating worlds, but you are creating your world. Your finances, your career, your relationships with opportunity, all are shaped by what you repeatedly say. If you want to live in abundance, speak abundance until your subconscious accepts it as truth. This is why affirmations are powerful. An affirmation is not wishful thinking. It is a command. Each time you repeat a statement like, "I am open to infinite wealth," or "I prosper in everything I do," you are programming your inner mind to expect prosperity. An expectation attracts manifestation. The more you affirm abundance, the more your speech shifts from doubt to certainty. And when certainty fills your words, reality must follow. Your words also shape how others respond to you. When you speak confidently, people trust you, opportunities open, doors swing wide. When you speak negatively, people doubt you, opportunities shrink, doors close. The vibration of your words is felt before it is understood. If you want to be surrounded by prosperity, surround yourself with prosperous speech. Notice how children imitate the words of their parents. If a child grows up hearing, "We can't afford it, money is hard, life is unfair," those beliefs become their own. If they hear, "Money always comes, there's always enough, opportunities abound," those beliefs root instead. Words shape not only your wealth, but the wealth of those you influence. When you choose prosperous speech, you not only lift yourself, you lift everyone around you. Do not wait until you see wealth to speak it. Speak it first, and it will appear. That is the law. You cannot let current conditions dictate your speech, for your speech is meant to change your conditions. You may look at your account and see little, but do not call it little. Bless it, thank it, declare it multiplying. Speak not of what is, but of what shall be. Call things that are not as though they are, and they will become. Discipline yourself to catch every careless word. When you hear yourself say, "I'm broke," stop and replace it with, "I am supplied." When you say, "That's too expensive," shift to, "I am open to the wealth that allows me to enjoy it." When you say, "I never have enough," change it to, "I always have more than I need." This practice may feel unnatural at first, but over time, your subconscious will accept these new declarations as fact. And when the inner mind shifts, the outer world must follow. Remember, wealth begins in the invisible, and words are the bridge. Your thoughts shape your beliefs shape your words, and your words shape your reality. You cannot separate them. What you say today will become what you live tomorrow. If you desire prosperity tomorrow, speak prosperity today. If you want wealth to find you, call it now. If you long for abundance to surround you, let abundance fill your speech. So open your mouth with intention. Let no idle complaint slip through. Let no careless curse pass your lips. Instead, let every word you speak be an affirmation of abundance, a decree of prosperity, a blessing over your life. Speak life over your finances, your work, your opportunities, your future. The more you speak it, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you live it. Your words shape your wealth because your words are creative law. Use them wisely, use them powerfully, use them to build, not destroy. With every sentence, you are casting the mold for your future. Make that mold abundant, make it overflowing, make it prosperous beyond measure, for as surely as you speak, so shall it be. Vision creates provision. Before the flow of wealth enters your heart,